Breaking and exciting news, CNN and other outlets are reporting that Vice President Kamala Harris has officially chosen her vice presidential running mate, and that is progressive Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several things to talk about in a clip. So CNN was the first one to break this story. Harris decides on Tim Walz as running mate. Vice President Kamala Harris has made a decision on her running mate, with 4 people close to the process saying Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota is her choice. Now, if you follow this channel and if you've watched Live and Learn, the live stream that I do weekly with an economist, a lawyer, and a political streamer by the name of Hutch, you will know that Tim Walz has been my preferred candidate. I think the entire bench, from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, all of them are really good. But Tim Walz, to me, has the edge because of his progressive record and his willingness to use power with slim margins. Okay, so Mehdi Hasan wrote a really good op-ed on July 29th about why Tim Walz should be given the nod. And he makes a very good case, which echoes many of the points that I've made. He says, have you seen touching images from March 2023 of the Minnesota Governor Tim Walz being hugged by a group of elementary school kids after signing into law a bill that provided them with free school meals? The fun clip from September 2023 of Walz with his daughter Hope laughing and screaming at a ride at the Minnesota Fair. How about the viral video of Walz on MSNBC last week mocking Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and MAGA Republicans as weird people? That's the other thing, too. Walz is really the source of the very effective political messaging against Trump and J.D. Vance coming from the Harris campaign and Democrats. The whole "they're weird" thing, which they are, that has its genesis with Walz. That video had more than 4.6 million views on Twitter, and per Politico is credited with the Democrats' new shift towards a more gut-level vernacular that may better capture how voters react to far-right rhetoric of the Trump-Vance variety. It goes on to say, Mehdi Hasan says he's Walz-pilled. He's watched dozens of his interviews and clips. He's far from alone. He has an army of new fans across the liberal left, from Bernie Sanders, campaign co-chair Nina Turner, to one-time progressive Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke, to gun control activist David Hogg. According to Bloomberg, the Harris campaign has narrowed down its top tier of particular running mates. Again, reportedly now, it's Walz. First, there's his personality. The 60-year-old governor would bring energy, humor, and much-needed bite to the Democratic presidential ticket. There's a reason why his videos have been going viral in recent days. Tim Kaine, he ain't. Pick the charismatic and eloquent Walz, and you have America's fun uncle ready to go. Then there's his resume. A popular Midwest governor from a rural town, a 24-year veteran of the Army National Guard, a high school teacher who coached the football team to its first state championship. It's almost too perfect. And then finally, and this is the reason I like him, and have been a fan of his for at least a year and a half, there's his governing record. You will struggle to find a Democratic governor who has achieved more than Walz in the space of a single legislative session. Not Shapiro, not J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, not even Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. In May 2023, Barack Obama, of all people, shared a piece from the Minnesota Post on X, which laid out Walz's very successful and very social democratic legislative record. Quote, Democrats codified abortion rights, paid family and medical leave, sick leave, trans rights protections, driver's licenses for undocumented residents, restoration of voting rights for people when they are released from prison or jail, wider voting access, one-time rebates, a tax credit aimed at low-income parents with kids, and a $1 billion investment in affordable housing, including for rental assistance. Got that? Walz basically did President Biden's Build Back Better on steroids, despite only a single-seat majority in the state Senate. But wait, there's more. Also adopted were background checks for private gun transfers and a red flag warning system to take guns from people deemed by a judge to be a threat to themselves or others. DFL lawmakers banned conversion therapy for LGBTQ people, legalized recreational marijuana, expanded education funding, required a carbon-free electric grid by 2040, adopted new reading curricula based on phonics, passed a massive $2.58 billion capital construction package, and at the insistence of Republicans, a $300 million emergency infusion of money to nursing homes. Democrats at the national level can only dream of such progressive legislative victories. He's right. We have so many successful Democratic governors in this country, really, and so many talented ones. I mean, Governor Gavin Newsom is probably the least accomplished in terms of legislative victories of the major Democratic governors, but he also has enormous rhetorical and debate talents as well, right? Newsom is a talented guy. Walz has that intersection of personality, rhetorical gifts, and just a deep democratically successful record as a governor, despite razor-thin margins. This is important because it's so easy for progressive Democrats to be pulled to the center, and sometimes tactically they should. Victory is victory, and sometimes victory requires compromise. I'm not saying that you should always push to the far left. Sometimes progressives need to compromise with moderates, and moderates have to have their way. But you know what? Progressives deserve to have their way too from time to time, and too often it's the moderates who get their way and never the progressives. What Walz does here is, with razor-thin margins, he wields power. He refuses to let to let Republicans get in his way. He refuses to let Republicans impede progress. He'll negotiate with them in good faith. If they obstruct them, he just powers through them because he has the advantage and they don't. That is the sort of governing attitude that Democrats need to have, especially when the policies and values are actually better for the constituents, including conservative constituents, including Republican voters, than Republican policies. Last thing I want to do here is play this clip because, again, just to give you a snapshot of Walz's personality and how he has just brilliantly redefined the messaging tenor of the Democratic campaign.
But these guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that. But don't lift these guys up like they're sometimes heroes. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing. The fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid.
I love that because he instinctively gets it. He understands that we have to have a two-pronged approach, which may at first glance seem mutually exclusive. He's like, you have to recognize that fascists are dangerous, but you also have to constantly mock and belittle them and take away the fear that they try to exude in others. Fascists love fear. Donald Trump is an authoritarian strongman who loves for people to react with fear, right? He wants people to be afraid of him. We have to simultaneously recognize that he is a threat and take it seriously, but make fun of him behind his back, to his face, in public and private, everywhere. Basically what Charlie Chaplin and others did with Adolf Hitler, in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. That's the approach that we have to take with Trump. We have to recognize the threat that he poses. We have to beat him at the ballot box in November, but we have to make sure that we're not gratifying him with a sense of fear and awe and menace. Make fun of these people. Tell them that they're creepy. Tell others that they're creepy. I love this. He gets it. So between the rhetoric, between the governing agenda, I'm super happy about this. I'm sure as the day goes on, we'll get additional information. I'm sure the vice president will make a statement. Governor Walz will make a statement as well. But folks, this is good news. We have reason to be excited, and I want you to let me know what you think in the comments.